Hello everyone. Welcome back to our channel, U.S. Immigration News. We hope you're doing great. In this video, we're going to talk about Green Card Update. Applicants issued new guidance. If you are interested in this topic, please pay attention and watch the video through to the end to get all the information. Please hit like and subscribe. And don't forget to push the notification bell for an upcoming video. So, without any further delay, let's jump into the video. The United States Citizenship and Immigration Services has introduced a major update to how non-U.S. citizens pay for immigration applications, including green cards and naturalization. This significant policy shift, effective October 28, 2025, aims to bring greater efficiency, transparency, and security to the federal immigration payment process. Purpose behind the new payment policy. USCIS stated that the modernization of payment methods is designed to minimize fraud, prevent lost or misplaced payments, and streamline administrative operations. The shift from paper-based to electronic payments will also help accelerate application processing times and reduce costs associated with manual handling. Applicants who do not comply with these new procedures risk rejection of their applications due to improper payment submission. How the new payment system works. As of late October, all applicants mailing their immigration forms to USCIS must use electronic payment methods rather than traditional checks or money orders. The agency now provides two approved methods for submitting fees: credit, debit, or prepaid card payment. Applicants using these options must complete Form G 1450, authorization for credit card transactions, to officially permit USCIS to process the transaction. ACH bank transfer. For those preferring direct bank transfers, applicants must fill out Form G 1650, authorization for ACH debit transaction. This enables the agency to electronically withdraw the fee from a U.S. bank account using the automated clearinghouse network. USCIS will no longer accept personal checks, business checks, money orders, cashier's checks, or bank drafts. However, exceptions remain for individuals who cannot access electronic systems or encounter specific hardships. Exemptions and special circumstances. Applicants unable to use digital payment options can request an exemption by filing Form G 1651, exemption for paper fee payment. To qualify, they must demonstrate one of the following: lack of access to U.S. banking or online payment services, significant hardship resulting from electronic payment, situations involving national security or law enforcement needs, other exceptions outlined by the Secretary of the Treasury. These exemptions are reviewed on a case-by-case basis to ensure fairness while maintaining USCIS's modernization goals. Public and official reactions. According to USCIS spokesperson Matthew Tragesser, this change represents a common-sense step toward modernization, noting that over 90% of past payments arrive via checks or money orders, causing delays and errors. The agency emphasized through an official statement on X, formerly Twitter, that all future payments must be completed using Form G 1450 or Form G 1650, and that any denied transaction may lead to rejection of the entire application. Next steps for applicants. USCIS urges applicants to review the filing fees section of its website regularly for any additional updates or technical guidance related to the new system. This transition to digital payments marks a significant step in aligning immigration procedures with broader federal modernization initiatives, offering applicants a faster, safer, and more transparent experience. U.S. District Judge Robert Gettleman. Judge hears testimony about crowded cells and overflowing toilets at Chicago. Judge hears testimony about crowded cells and overflowing toilets at Chicago area immigration site. A judge heard testimony Tuesday about overflowing toilets, crowded cells, no beds, and water that tasted like sewer at a Chicago area building that serves as a key detention spot for people rounded up in the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. People who were held at the building in Broadview, just outside Chicago, offered rare public accounts about the conditions there as U.S. District Judge Robert Gilman considers ordering changes at a site that has become a flashpoint for protests and confrontations with federal agents. "I don't want anyone else to live what I lived through," said Felipe Augustin Zamacona, 47, an Amazon driver and Mexican immigrant who has lived in the U.S. for decades. Zamacona said there were 150 people in a holding cell, desperate to lie down to sleep, He said he once took the spot of another man who got up to use the toilet. And the water? Zamakuna said he tried to drink from a sink, but it tasted like sewer. A lawsuit filed last week accuses the government of denying proper access to food, water, and medical care, and coercing people to sign documents they don't understand. Without that knowledge and without private communication with lawyers, they have unknowingly relinquished their rights and face deportation, the lawsuit alleges. This is not an issue of not getting a toilet or a Fiji water bottle. Attorney Alexa Van Brun of MacArthur Justice Center told the judge, "These are a set of dire conditions that, when taken together, paint a harrowing picture." Before testimony began, U.S. District Judge Robert Gelman said the allegations were disgusting. To have to sleep on a floor next to an overflowing toilet, that's obviously unconstitutional, he said. Attorney Janet Brady of the Justice Department acknowledged there are no beds at the Broadview building just outside Chicago because it was not intended to be a long-term detention site. Authorities have improved the operations over the past few months, she said, adding there's been a learning curve. The conditions are not sufficiently serious, Brady told the judge. The building has been managed by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement for decades. But amid the Chicago area crackdown, it has been used to process people for detention or deportation. Gregory Bovino, the Border Patrol commander who has led the Chicago immigration operation, said criticism was unfounded. "I think they're doing a great job out there," he told the Associated Press during an interview this week. Testifying with the help of a translator, Pablo Moreno Gonzalez, 56, said he was arrested last week while waiting to start work. Like Zamakona, he said he was placed in a cell with 150 other people with no beds, blankets, toothbrush, or toothpaste. It was just really bad. It was just too much. Moreno Gonzalez, crying, told the judge. Claudia Carolina Pereira Guevara testified from Honduras, separated from 2 children who remain in the U.S. She said she was held at Broadview for 5 days in October and recalled using a garbage bag to clear a clogged toilet. "They gave us nothing that had to do with cleaning. Absolutely nothing," Guevara said. Another witness, Ruben Torres Maldonado, said he slept on the concrete floor and would fill water bottles to use as pillows. The judge said he could make a decision Wednesday on the request for a restraining order. For months, advocates have raised concerns about conditions at Broadview, which has drawn scrutiny from members of Congress, political candidates, and activist groups. Lawyers and relatives of people held there call it a de facto detention center, saying up to 200 people have been held at a time without access to legal counsel. The Broadview Center has also drawn demonstrations, leading to the arrests of numerous protesters. The demonstrations are at the center of a separate lawsuit from a coalition of news outlets and protesters who claim federal agents violated their First Amendment rights by repeatedly using tear gas and other weapons on them. Border Patrol official behind Chicago immigration crackdown defends tactics as Trump cheers. The Border Patrol commander leading an immigration crackdown in Chicago applauded his agents' aggressive tactics that have prompted resident backlash and lawsuits, from his use of chemical agents to a helicopter raid on an apartment building. Gregory Bovino defended the approach of U.S. Customs and Border Protection as appropriate and necessary for what he says are threats his agents have faced in the nation's 3rd largest city. "I didn't have any reason to think it would be this bad, but it's far worse than I ever thought," Bovino told the Associated Press during a wide-ranging interview between meeting employees at a suburban CBP office and sitting for another deposition in growing litigation over his tactics. More than 3,200 people with alleged immigration violations have been arrested since Operation Midway Blitz began in September as part of the Trump administration's push to target cities with sanctuary immigration policies. What started as a handful of arrests in Latino and immigrant-heavy communities has rippled across the city of 2.7 million and its many suburbs, dipping into Indiana. Bovino spoke to AP as fresh teams were replacing agents who spent 2 months in Chicago, some directly from a Los Angeles crackdown. He likened officers fanning the region to police working beats, but their mission is to counteract an invasion of criminal illegal aliens, how Trump administration leaders describe people living in the country without legal permission, doubling down on chemical agents. Bovino is visible around Chicago, where the sight of Border Patrol agents away from international borders has startled residents. while keeping his job as head of Border Patrol Sector in El Centro, California, along the U.S.-Mexico border. Bovino has done Chicago riverboat patrols and led armed agents on a march along the Michigan Avenue shopping district. He's regularly spotted in daily operations, frequently in Little Village, a Mexican neighborhood with a busy business corridor. Sightings of agents in and around Chicago draw quick responses by activists and residents who blow whistles and honk horns as some follow CBP vehicles. Agents have increasingly used rubber bullets, pepper balls, and CS gas, a synthetic irritant used by police as tear gas. During one clash in Little Village, Bovino threw a canister of gas to a crowd he claimed included rioters. The Department of Homeland Security said Bovino was hit with a rock. Bystanders rejected that claim, saying agents deployed gas without warning. Bovino told the AP that using chemical agents is far less lethal than what agents face. "We use the least amount of force necessary to effect the arrest. We do that," he said. "If I had more CS gas, I would have deployed it." Immigration agents' tactics are the subject of legal challenges. A judge has required them to wear body cameras and document arrests and force Bovino into a courtroom. Suburban Broadview, the site of an immigration processing center, has also opened 3 criminal investigations against federal agents, praising a raid that amplified tensions. Agents have made arrests outside courthouses, schools, homes, and increasingly on freeways. On Monday, a half-dozen agents visited a truck stop in Hampshire, about 50 miles, 80 kilometers, outside Chicago, to knock on truck cabs and ask drivers if they were U.S. citizens. The operation resembled Border Patrol checkpoints that are common along the Mexican border. The AP witnessed 2 arrests, an Uzbek man and a Russian driver with a pending asylum application. Bovino spoke shortly after President Donald Trump endorsed his administration's use of tear gas and other tactics rarely seen away from the border because you have to get the people out. "I think the raids haven't gone far enough because we've been held back by the liberal judges that were put in by Biden and by Obama," Trump said in a CBS 60 Minutes interview that aired Sunday. Bovino insists some Chicago residents have thanked him, including during the aftermath of a raid where hundreds of agents stormed an apartment building in a largely black South Shore neighborhood that's had an influx of migrants and prompted frequent complaints. Agents used a Black Hawk helicopter to rappel onto the building and explosives to open doors in a raid that critics called excessive and inhumane. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker called for investigation into reports that children were zip-tied as several U.S. citizens were also held for hours. Federal authorities said they arrested 2 people with alleged Trenda Aragua Street gang connections, along with dozens suspected of violating immigration laws. Bovino said agency intelligence showed the building was a threat, which prompted the intense approach. A lot of people said that was a little too much. Well, exactly how they intend to get a safety element onto the roof to make it safe for those going into that apartment or the neighboring buildings, he said. "I'm proud to say that went off about as good as it possibly can." Bovino said he hasn't seen evidence of Border Patrol teams having contact with children, despite residents' accounts and video, including in a neighborhood where people said children preparing for a Halloween parade were exposed to tear gas. Blaming elected leaders and activists, Bovino's presence is a topic of frequent angry news conferences in the Democratic stronghold as Pritzker, floated as a potential 2028 presidential contender, and Trump have traded barbs. Pritzker argues that federal agents inflame tensions and that the increased militarization is part of a wider plot to influence elections. Bovino points the finger at Pritzker, activists, and news outlets. He called Pritzker wildly misinformed while repeatedly mispronouncing his name during the interview, even after being called out, and took jabs at the governor's appearance. In response, Pritzker's office said Tuesday that the federal government has diverted valuable public safety resources to Bovino's publicity stunts aimed at boosting his ego. Bovino wouldn't say when the Chicago operation would wind down or say what city might be the next target, urging the element of surprise. "We're going to be in Chicago a good while," he said, "but you just never know." That is all for today in this video. What are your thoughts on this? Please let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching the entire video. Hopefully, the information is useful to you. See you later in the next video. Till then, take care